Hello, it's Chocy Chat. It's Friday the 16th. Valentine's has just gone, hasn't it? It's Friday the 16th, episode 127. How is Chocy Chat tonight? Did everybody have a really good week selling? Did they? Has anybody got stuff left over? Mother Baker's there. How you, Mo? Gosh. Pinky Cupcakes. There's a new name. Not seen you before, but welcome. Ron's Bonbons. How you doing, Ron? Scottish Chocolates, how are you, sir? Chocolates by Sea, gosh, hello. Augusta there in Italy. Nice Candy Shop, how you doing? Greetings from Brazil, hello, Brazil. Who else we got? Mrs. So Sassy's joined us. How you doing, Stuart? Was everybody's Valentine's successful? Everybody make some money, everybody get good sales. I saw some amazing posts, I have to say, some really, truly amazing posts this week. So, Knight's Candy Shop, too many boxes left over. Ooh. How are you going to sell them? You can do promotion. Chocy's there. How are you going to move those, Gary? Are you going to do a sale? AD70 there in Sweden. They just did a lovely post earlier, actually, showing off teal shimmer. So Chocolates by Sea, how are you? I'm good, I'm really good. Busy week this week. It's all been about colour. I did do some spraying this week. I just didn't get around to doing anything else with it. I didn't get a chance to shell. I don't know where these weeks go. They just absolutely fly by, don't they? I don't know how it is for everybody else, but like I seem to finish Chocy Chat, do what we need to do at the weekend, classes, butters. Next thing I know, it's Friday again. So, Simply Elegant Bites. Hello, there's a new name, not seen before, but welcome. Who else did I see? Mariva there, down in New Zealand. Hello. Chapel Lane Chocolates. How are you? Susie Floozy's been posting some amazing cakes this week. Paula's there. Stephanie at Forester Chocolates. Mind Your Temper. Did I see Mind Your Temper? I did. It's all going well. Oh, Channel Island Chocolates. So Rochelle's saying, getting ready for a bespoke antique show items. That sounds interesting. Zoe there at Vitology. Chocolate, lovely collection of colours. Yours or mine? I did. Do you know what? Here's one. That's the Fuchsia Romance. It's hard to see, but I backed that with breakfast at. So we're going to do some swirls and things. Here's a more interesting one. That's Affinity Silver, but with the Aqua Lagoon behind it. That was quite nice. That was Sophia that suggested I do that one. I was going to do something else. She's like, no, you have to do this. So I was planning on selling some nice chockies to sell on Women's Day next month. We got coming up here. We've got Mother's Day and Easter coming up very shortly, so that's the next big one for us. Easter should be huge for everybody, actually. Should be. Ellen got her butters, I know about that. Zoe, alaikum salam. How are you? What do you mean I'm gutted? Do you know what? Every day this week's like, got to get a haircut. Never run. There's so much stuff that I have to do every week. I don't know where the week goes. There aren't enough hours. I need another 8 hours in a day. Do we need another 8 hours in each day? And I'll probably get done some of the things that I need to do. But do you know what? I like being busy. It just means some things kind of have to take a back seat, and getting a haircut is definitely get a back seat job. So,
Quick.
What are you doing to my hair?
You forgot to do your hair.
Stage makeup. I was busy getting Ribena. The life I lead, you know.
Usually you say
Go,
my hair is
Rocky,
good.
Khalas. Now you made me look like I've got a... You made me... Is that all right? Is that okay? Is that presentable for Chocy Chat?
Yeah, you're right. I told you to go to the barber shop.
You got water on my moles.
Whatever.
You didn't.
You're welcome.
I don't know, just... Anyway, where were we? So, I was saying hello. Bitology is there. Ned at N2 Sweet Labs. N2 Sweet Labs. Go and have a look at the pastry stuff he's doing. It's absolutely mesmerising. Truly amazing. Lonely Larson's joined us there. Chocolate Art UK. Gosh, Le Grand Escapes. Hello from Mountains of Chocolate, Grampians, Victoria. Gosh, people are waking up early in Australia today, aren't they? Susie Flute. Off to a wedding tomorrow. My creations will be posted after. So, can you please teach these types of paints and moulds? I did. One of the things that we were... I've got a whole stack of moulds, right? Let me show you something. I bought... So this is how my working... I bought a whole stack of new moulds to do. The idea was that we were going to do some designs using the colours and do some like tutorials, but not like a here's me painting a mould, copy me. But I was going to do the temperatures and the technique that was kind of behind doing all the moulds. And I've got all these bullet marks. I've got dozens and dozens of different marks. Not even open them, not even use them. There's stacks and stacks of them. That's not me showing off. That's me. It got a bit busy. It gets very busy for me. It gets incredibly busy for me. So the intent was there, but I think that's something I kind of just need to get the butters melted, actually get on and start videoing and filming some ways that you can use these in the style that maybe I would do them, so you can see different colours and how they work. Because if I put, oddly, where that's Affinity Silver with the spiral, when I tested that one and we backed that with Breakfast At, the spiral kind of disappeared, but when we did it with Aqua Lagoon, it kind of really popped out. So I'll try and show. I can't show those this week because we've got hands-on classes back to back for the next 10-11 days now. So it's limited in terms of what I do. But that was the intention, was to do lots and lots of designs and show different ways of using different colours and how we would create opacity, what we would do with type A butters where they're translucent, and how you can use that to do different things in the mould. So I do need to get to that, and that's something that I do want to do, but it's time, isn't it? It's just time. It's just not enough time, right? I won't be stealing anybody's hair products, I guarantee. I walk around and I think most people think I'm homeless. I'm not vain at all. Birch Tree, can I get onto a face-to-face course between the 17th and 21st June? Do you mean the hands-on class, Birch Tree? Yeah, possibly. Send me a Birch Tree 23. Send me a message. Send me a message and I'll come back to you on that one. Diary's filling up. The Saturdays and Sundays really fill up for us. Like February and March, they're done. There is nothing left on Saturday and Sundays, which is why I've got dozens and dozens and dozens of airbrushes bought in. I'm sorry if anybody was trying to get the airbrushes, but I kind of did buy them all. So yeah, send me a message. There's hands-on classes. Get the girls to cut my hair. Yeah, it's probably actually what's going to happen. So that is probably what's going to happen. Durate Bakes, hello. Alice Goebel, she's not far from me. Alice, how are you? That is too cute, lovable. It's Rania just making sure that I stay on track. I'd be happy. Let me explain this. We're not. We have money. We have clothes. I've got some really. I'm as happy in a chef's jacket, and chef's jacket, pair of Crocs, 4 seasons, absolutely perfect for me, right? I just don't. Yeah. Ron did post some amazing pan of chocolate earlier. Are you going to come and say hello? Look, we did face painting today. Is this I Should Cocoa, or is this a different brand?
Different.
It's a different brand?
Different brand.
You've been using a different brand of cocoa butter? Oh no, it's just face paint, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to say hello to Chocky Chat?
Hello, Chucky Chat.
Okay, go. Let's show you this apron. Stand up. Yellow Watfy. Was that sharp? I want to see your apron. Your apron. It says crazy mother cooker. They're all here. All the face painting girls. Say hello to Chocky Chat crew.
Hey, Chucky Chat crew.
Yeah, you are so sassy, crew. You got to say that Chocky Chat crew. Apparently, my hair's gone like. My hair's nothing to do with Chocky Chat. You normally cut my hair anyway, don't you?
Fair enough.
Twisted Tulips, hello.
Hi. Nice to see you all this week. Bye, Chocolate Chat crew. Bye-bye.
Okay. Delceria Chocolate down in Austria. No, Manuela has got a shop in Vienna. Delceria Chocolate, really, really, really nice. I keep kicking something down there. A really, really beautiful shop. You should go and have a look. So, Fine Chocolates, how are you, sir? James, quick, could you please help here? In our last batches, we've got cracks along the place where the cap connects to the shell, on the shell part. What could be the problem and could you help? Couple of things that causes cracks. I don't have any shells here to show you. Shall I use? Yeah. Right. We'll use one of the tops, right? If you get cracks that go over the top, right? So if you get cracks that go over the top, that's normally this, when people start flexing it, right? Before they crack it out. Particularly if it's not fully, so if you've shelled, tapped everything out, scraped it, and it's contracted, if some of them haven't, what people will do is give the mould a little flex, and that normally produces a crack right over the top. If the cracks are down the sides here, okay, if you feel with, this normally happens with caramel, not so much with ganache, but more with caramel gandujas. If you pipe it into there and the shell is too cold, there is some shrinkage, okay, and what it does is it pulls, if the shell is, so if you take the shells from cold storage and you fill them immediately, the warm ganache at 32 going in there goes in and it pulls the edges in, and then it expands when it cools down, and it normally produces a crack down the edge. Does that make sense? I'd have a look at the temperature of your cold, like if your room's really cold when you're filling the shells, you need to just kind of, the room needs to be back warmer, 20, 21 degrees. You only need it colder to force retraction. Ideal working temperature, 20, 21, 22 is absolutely fine. If you're painting and spraying, 19, 20, 21 is absolutely fine. The only reason you dip colder is to force the shells to retract away from the mould or shrink, right? The cracks that go along that edge there is very often the filling much warmer than the cold shell, so it causes a little bit of shock. The other thing it could be is if you don't let that filling fully solidify, it's hard to explain this. When that shell pulls away, normally you can see it's flush, right? And then when it pulls away, it's like you can see through it, okay? So there's a tiny microscopic gap. That's where the chocolate shrunk. When you put the chocolate in, when you put the filling in and you go to cap, okay, the force of pushing down on it can push down on the shell and crack the shell, but that normally produces a crack over the top, right? When they're on the edge, it's normally that's going to be just a bit of too much of a difference between a cold shell having come from cold storage, like 13, 14, 10, 10, 12, 14 degrees, and then putting a ganache or something in there that's at 28, 29. You just need to balance that temperature a little bit. Does it happen across the whole mould, or is it normally just one row filling? That'd be a question. Direct Bakes, hey, I didn't get an email. No, the class email for the fillet, no. On Sunday we're doing the cocoa butter class. The email will go out on Saturday morning to everybody who's joining that. There's a couple of spaces left if anybody's interested in the cocoa butter class. We're going through how to use these and these. How these work, the types A, B, C, D, how to use them, how to get the best from them, what temperatures you should use them at, some airbrushing tips, some painting tips. We will talk about chocolate tempering, because cocoa butter, the only reason you temper chocolate is because of the cocoa butter that's in it. If you had chocolate that's got no cocoa butter in it, there is no reason to temper it. The cocoa butter class is about cocoa butter, so we will talk about different types of tempering, temperatures that are important, application temperatures, so what temperatures you use when you paint, the difference between a type A, type B and type C is quite a big difference on the effect that you can get. We will talk about chocolate tempering in terms of what's happening in it, and then also we're going to talk about tempering fillings, because that relates to cocoa butter as well. If a filling's got cocoa butter in it, you have an opportunity to temper it. So whether you table it and cool it down that way, whether you use micro, whether you use silk, totally up to you. But there's a lot of information in the cocoa butter class. It covers a whole area. And then also at the end, we will do a kind of what went wrong. Why didn't it work? Why did... I did a post the other day. Where is it? If that happens... Why does that happen, and why does it all pull off, and what went wrong? Because it is super shiny. Okay, so we'll, you know, it covers all those bits, but there's a lot of information in that cocoa butter class. So the emails will go out on Saturday about midday-ish. So yeah, tomorrow about midday-ish. So I sent some hellos out. Where have we got to? No, Mother Baker. I don't think anybody will understand Ron Hill trackies and Reebok trainers, and a Fred Perry T-shirt, right? Wasn't it? That was the. That's how we. Hello in Mexico. Gosh, people all over the world tonight. Siobhan's there. Siobhan posted. Siobhan is at Trilly Chocolates Heaven. She's over in Ireland and a beginner, but she did a lovely post earlier on the Chocy Chat Facebook page. She's testing, doing all her colours, but she said she's just beginning on her journey. Every time you make chocolates, you're practicing. I think every professional will tell you, every time they do something, they feel like they're practicing. I don't think you ever get to a point where you go, yeah, I nailed it. And I think what's the phrase that amateurs practice until they don't get it wrong. Professionals keep going so they keep getting it right, or something like that. I just think for me, with my career, every time I make chocolate, every time I make something, I get in the headset of I'm practicing. So I make sure that I go back through the details of what I'm doing. I think when you become a bit blasé and you just kind of go for it, whether you're shelling, filling moulds, cutting piping back, it doesn't matter. Get in the frame of mind. Every time you make something you're practicing, you will always get better. I don't think I've ever made anything and not looked back afterwards and said, oh, I could have done this bit better or that bit better. I would never call myself a perfectionist, ever. I'm not sure I actually even like that phrase. I don't think you ever get it perfect. I just think you need to get progress, right? So let's get a haircut, obviously. So, Snowberry in Alaska is a new name. Hello. Oh, God, all the questions are. Wait, I don't know why this happens, but all the comments jump forward like 10 minutes. So, let me scroll back 1 second. Choco, do I do a beige Irish cream cocoa colour? The nearest we've got to beige, I got asked the other day if I could make. It wasn't beige, it was taupe. With kind of beige colour, isn't it? I don't. I think the nearest we've probably got is. You could take the Chocy Chat and tone that down with white. That would give you that kind of colour. I mean, there's, you know, you just can't do all of it, can you? Caramelita, you could try Caramelita, but Caramelita is a yellow. So when it's a liquid, Caramelita when it's liquid looks quite beige colour, but when it dries, because it's a yellow iron oxide, it actually does go yellow. It's kind of dull yellow. I'd be more inclined to mix the Chocy Chat and just drip some white into it to see if you can just get that brown to tone down. You won't need a lot of white, you'll only need a tiny bit, just to tone that down a little bit rather than the. I did a post recently about with the you know, trying to get opacity. and I said that, like, rather than spraying white behind it to get it bright red, you could spray the Caramelita. So many people bought the Caramelita and tried that and went, that's fantastic, because there's this assumption that to get it really bright, you have to put white behind it. You don't always need to put white behind a colour to get it to be bright. What you need to do is put a colour behind it to block the dark chocolate, making it the colour darker. Does that make sense? I play with cocoa butters all day, so for me it's quite easy to work out. But for some people, yeah, it's quite a handy tip, that one. So Philippe's saying the cracks are on the side, and in some moulds is the only one. Another moulds are at 7 or 8 of them. I would have a look, Philippe. Couple of things. I just make sure you're not flexing the mould, okay? I just make sure you're not flexing the moulds. I would say that with the I use the, this is not a promotion in any way, shape or form. I use the Implast molds, and they're really hard to flex, okay? What I found with some of the Martitello, they're really, really, really flexy. And I do find that I don't get everything to retract, because when it goes into the cold, the mold moves, but the shells don't. So I don't get like full retraction. Philip, I'd have a look and just make sure you're not like mishandling them or slamming them down. When you're cut, the other thing that can happen as well is this: if you've done a shell and the edge of the shell isn't tight to here, and then you fill it and you overfill it and you cap, okay. When you slam it down, if it's retracted too much, just that tiny, it's microscopic, that'd be enough to just cause a bit of shock to the edge of that shell. Could be many things. It's hard to. I'd want to know what the filling was and the temperature. So there is a big difference. We're trying to balance temperature. I've always said with the chocolate, the colder the room, the warmer the chocolate and the cocoa butter. Okay, and then the warmer the room, the cooler the chocolate and the cocoa butter. And I can't tell you what that is, because it changes all the time, and it will be different for each person's area. What you've got to work out is, if your room is a constant kind of 18 degrees, you will react to what's going on there. If I use my chocolate in a room that's 16 degrees, I think, I would struggle, and it would take me a couple of sessions to work out that I need the chocolate half a degree warmer to just give me an extra 20 seconds or 30 seconds of work, okay? If your room is very cold, or you're in an environment where it's very, very cold, there's nothing wrong with using all your chocolate at 32 and a half, just to give you a little bit more time. The colder your mould, which will be at room temperature, right? The colder your mould is, the warmer the chocolate needs to be. Because if your mould is kind of 10, 12 degrees and you put chocolate on that's at 29, 30, chances are by the time you're going to really struggle to knock everything out, because it's just going to start solidifying very, very quickly. You might find you've got very, very thick shells as well. That's a challenge. So, what else have we got? I think we are our worst critics, but I can look back and see how I've improved. I think you should always be critical of what you're making. You should always have a look at what you're making and say, how could I do? Don't focus on the stuff that you did wrong, right? I don't think that's the right approach either. I think you need to be forward facing with not too many rear view mirrors looking back, right? You can go and have a look at chocolate. I dare anybody here, go and have a look at chocolates that you made a year ago and you're like, oh no, what was I thinking? Because back then it was cool, and we change, right? We adapt, we improve, we get better, we get progress, we get all those bits and pieces. But I think you should always be looking at things objectively and saying, could I have done that better? And if I was going to do that again, what would I do differently this time? Not what is it that I don't like? Because when you don't like something, as humans, we're very quick to just brush it aside and go, I'm never doing that again. What you don't want to do is like capitulate and keep focusing on the thing that you did wrong. I think what you need to do is say, what have I done here that I really like, and what would I do that would make it better? That's where your progress comes from, right? So I will save this live. I didn't post last week's to YouTube yet, because I just didn't get around to it. Yeah. Sylvester pastry. Perfection doesn't exist. It's why we always try for that 110%. Perfection doesn't exist. I dare anybody, go and have a look at stuff that you were making a year ago. And I worked in kitchens with a Michelin star or at one point 3 Michelin star. And the food then, it was like just mind-blowing, amazing. And I look back at some of the old stuff and it's like, God, what were we thinking? You know, we had like sprinkled stuff around the edges of plates, and chefs doing their thumbprint, you know, on the edge of the plate for signature dishes, and it's just like, oh, that's so sad. But we move on, right? We move on. As long as you know and you can, what's the phrase? I think just build into your own mind that you are progressing, right? And your progression is down to you. It's not down to anybody else and their interpretation of it. Most of the chocolates, very hard to give people our bonbons and they don't like them. It's very, very rare. You'll get criticism, and how you take that on, that's your business, and how you react to it, you're in control of that as well. But we're always seeking progression, right? James, do you have a preferred dark Luca chocolate for shells? The Santander, I think there are two of the Santander. The 82 is a little bit too strong for me, but I thought there was one that was down at the 54. I can't remember off the top of my head with Luca. I use so many different varieties of chocolate. I think the Santander, I think the 82 is a little bit too strong for me. I like dark chocolate, but I don't like it kind of past 72. Any higher than that tastes like carbon charcoal to me. So I also like sweet sugar, so I like sweet things. So yeah, Santander, I think they do two in the Luca range. I think one's an 82 or an 85, and it's the next one down from that, which I think is like 64. The 64 I did like. So Kate Mudge, how can I find the Facebook Chocky Chat group? Just search Chocky Chat on Facebook. You'll find it's a private group. I think we've got nearly 900 members now. It's grown immeasurably. I'm not going to lie though, I don't get much time to go on there and look at stuff. I do look at stuff on there. I don't get much time to go on there and comment on things, but I do go in, like, people ask questions and I agree with it, I will say, yeah, good comment, yeah, well said, that right, yeah, good answer. Just want to monitor it a bit and just make sure that it is a positive, Chocky Chat needs to be wholeheartedly positive, and I will not stand for anybody going on there and either bad mouthing or belittling or saying things that aren't constructive. I'll wipe that out in a moment, and I think you all know what I'm like. I think you all know what I'm talking about. I don't have time for negative. I'm too busy. As soon as it gets negative, I'm busy. I've got stuff to do. See it. Bye. Don't have time. But yeah, have a look on Chocky Chat on Facebook. It's a private group, so you just need to answer the questions. If you don't answer the questions, you can't come in. Hi, I'm from Jordan. What is the difference between powder colour and gel colour? Gel colours are liquid based, the colouring powders come in lots of different forms, and it's knowing which one. Some might say gel colours tend to be made with glucose or another water-based gelling agent. Gel colours are very, very good for meringue and then water-based products, right? You need fat-soluble colours. They will only work in fat. If you get, if you made a buttercream and you used a water-based colouring in it, nothing's going to happen. It will just go, if you put drops of red into a buttercream and it's water-based, you just end up using loads and loads and loads of it. Whereas if you use a fat-based, it will go bright red, right? And it's equal the other way. If you've got a fat-based one, use a watercolour, nothing will happen. If you've got a meringue and you put a fat-based colour in it, nothing's going to happen, because meringue based are predominantly water based because of the egg white, which is kind of 98% water anyway. So it's not, is it? No, it's 92% water, egg white. So gel colour's not good for chocolate. Gel colours are really for water based preparations, whether it's glazes, all that kind of thing, and they don't necessarily mix over. I think what has been very, very misleading for a lot of people is you can, and I've seen there's a brand on High Street that says ideal for colouring chocolate, and it's water based, and if you put that colour into chocolate, the chocolate seizes, because for all of us that have got chocolate, if you've got a massive bowl of chocolate, a pin drop of water in there will make it seize. Eventually it will activate any of the cocoa mass that's in there, and it'll just become like a giant ball of dough. We haven't got to the water-based colourings yet. Rani and I were talking about this the other day. It's probably an area you're going to get to when I can find a bit more time. Yeah. Yeah, the Julia actually by Santander, it is a little bit thick. It's like a 2-drop, isn't it? Thin it down. If you want to thin chocolate down by a drop, generally speaking, 70 grams in 1,000. So if you've got a kilo, 1,000 grams of chocolate, if you want to thin it down by a drop, add 70 grams of cocoa butter. That will take it to a 3-drop. Much more manageable. Okay. As I said, I got the Implast molds. I've always washed by hand in hot water, dried and then polished. Can I just blast with a hairdryer and polish residual cocoa butter instead of washing? Yeah, you can. If you've made chocolates working cleanly, if like they're sprayed and I've wiped the top of that, you don't have to. Like if you've got a big Selmy, you just scrape that back in actually, but not a major problem. But I like everything's like neat and tidy and clean and tidy. I don't like working. Look, there's a little bit there. Look, you can see on that mould there. See, there's some bits that are left on there. So I'll probably give those a wipe before I actually put them in chocolate. There's another one that I did. I haven't finished that one yet. We're spraying the back of that one with silver. We got we got white, 3 types of blue, and then we're going to back that one with silver. And do a lot of stuff with silver at the minute. Tell you what I did spray. Oh, I've got to show you this one. That is Maroon Machine into silver. So Maroon Machine into silver. Mrs. So Sassy told me to do that. I was just kind of having my own little play date in here. But she said that I had to do Maroon Machine and silver. So that's what I've done. And it's probably going to come out absolutely astonishingly amazing. So, what I was going to say, with the working tidy, if you have made the chocolates and they've all retracted nicely, and you've made them and you've tipped them all out, there is nothing wrong with going round the edges with just a damp, not a wet cloth, damp, warm cloth, okay? And if you want to, give it a quick hair dry, very quick hair dry, and just give it a good clean, and you're ready to go again. You only need to clean the outside mould. If everything has retracted and you've tempered your cocoa butter and chocolates at the right temperature, you should be able to, I don't have a mould here that I've used, you should be able to just turn them out, okay? And the inside should be lovely clean. And as long as you clean the outside of it, you're ready to go again. If I was putting them on the shelf for any length of time, I would probably go back through and give them a wash. But if you're going to use it straight away, yeah, just give that surface area clean. I don't think you need to wash them every single time. It's more how clean and tidy you work, right? So, but yeah, you can give them a warm with a hairdryer and then just give them a buff out. There's a little bit of a myth that you get cocoa butter left in there. I said we did a litmus test to see where we put boiling water in it and litmus paper to see if there's any residual fat, and nothing came out at all. There is nothing microscopic left in there. Once the cocoa butter's come out and it's retracted, there's nothing left in that mould. Actually, it's absolutely squeaky clean and ready to use again. As long as the rest of the mould is fairly clean, yeah, go for it, right? And working clean and tidy, I did a post about this. You would paint and clean it down, you would shell. Before they've retracted, if I've made a mess on any of the edges, I'll just go through with a warm damp cloth, right? So I'll have a damp cloth and I'll just give it a blast of heat with a hairdryer, and I'll just give the outsides a wipe, right? And if I really need to, we'll put a damp cloth flat, give it a quick hairdry, and we'll just rub that on it so that I've got a lovely clean mould after I've shelled or after I've turned everything out. It just saves me having to turn over moulds all the time. I don't think you always need to. I don't get too obsessive with the polishing thing. They need to be clean, do you know? And if you wash them by hand, we tend to shake them dry, And then I'll put the airbrush on it and just blow any of the air out, because there's no, they're clean, right? They're clean. Okay, Philippe, here we go. Here's the answer. If you overfill them, I don't have a mould to show you. I don't know how I can show you this. When you shell with chocolate, it's dull, right? And then you see it retract, so you can see that it's see-through, which means there is a gap between your finger and the chocolate, okay? Well, that little gap, when you fill them and you overfill them and you put the cap on and you scrape really, really hard, if you scrape down at that angle, you're forcing the shell back into the mould, and that's what will crack it. So liquid, if the fillings are very, very liquid and they've not set fully and they're not firm, chances are too much chocolate on the top there. And if you scrape like that, you're scraping off the area. If you have it at an angle and you keep pushing down, you're actually pushing the chocolate into the mould. Where that's retracted, there is a danger. Have I got one here? I'm trying to have a look. That one, where that one fits in, like that, look, and it's retracted. If I push down on that, we will crack it, okay? That one fits in nice and snugly. If I fill that and I push down too hard on it, see where that's retracted and it comes out? That's because it's pulled away from the mould. Although it's very microscopic, it is enough to cause it to crack. So I would suggest, some people get carried away and they're like, you're just trying to scrape away that surface, right? That's it. They're little tips, they're little things that you do, and until you work them out and why does that happen, I used to say to chefs about whisking things, right? I used to have this thing about chefs with whisking. If they're to whisk something by hand, they just be going back and forth like this, and then the hand would get tired and they'd give up. And what I used to say is, like, I want you to go half the speed but more the distance. So we'd get them to whisk like that, and within 20 seconds they'd created meringue. It's like easy. It's techniques, all little tips, all little tricks, all little things that you work out over a period of time. So 1000th member giveaway. Nice try. Chocolate. When would you use Implast 525 or 53? No, I use 553 and 539. One straight-sided, one is more of a. Honestly, they're about the same weight. I know one says it's a 14 and one says it's a 13, but when I filled them and weighed them, they were both 14 gram. It depends on that design, right? Depends what I'm looking for. I generally go for the straight-sided one because I just think it looks a little bit bigger in the mold. It looks a little bit bigger when it's in the box, whereas the other one it's hardly noticeable. I like those two molds. They work for me. All my recipes, all my designs work around using those molds, right? Then I went out and bought some really different ones, so I've got to recalculate some stuff because they're all like 18s or 24s and the Implast are 32s. But I don't know, there's a design benefit. Like if you're trying to do ripples and things, the straight-sided one is not as amicable, it's not as favourable when you're doing ripples or you're doing fades. I tend to find it's a little bit angled, whereas the smooth domed one, and it's not 553 and 539. One straight-sided, but I don't have any empty. One straight, I don't even have them in this room, do I? No, I don't. Where are they actually? They're in storage. If you try and do ripples and things with the straight-sided one, it kind of stops, and when it crawls up the side there with the air, it's just not. It just looks a little bit untidy and a little bit kind of clumpy. Whereas the domed one is much easier to control when you're blowing air through and doing designs like ripples and what have you. So Maggie's joined us. How you doing, Maggie? Oh, it's really useful to know. I bought a 2-drop chocolate without looking and not being able to use it. Buy the chocolate that you want and then decide the fluidity. Like if I was doing Easter eggs, I'd be going for a 2-drop chocolate every single time. A 4-drop, I'd have to shell that 3 times to be able to get the mould out, because there wouldn't be enough tensile strength in there to it'd just be too thin. I'd have to shell it 4-drop chocolate twice, if not 3 times. Whereas a 2-drop chocolate would shell Easter eggs really, really nice. And if you're going to do the trend where you shell them and then paint in the caramel and then shell them again, I would do a 2-drop to shell it with, and then I'd have some 4-drop as the cover for the caramel. So you would shell as normal, then pipe in some caramel, spread it round carefully, really, really thick caramel, and then I'll do a 4-drop chocolate and tip that one out so that we've got a layer of caramel in between. So does that make sense to everybody? You can change the fluidity of your chocolate by adding cocoa butter, but you do need to understand that it will change the flavour profile of the chocolate. All right, so I blend chocolates. I can't do whatever I want. Not uncommon for me to blend, like the ICAM Edelweiss, we will blend with like maybe 20%, 25% W2, because the Edelweiss it's not very sweet at all. But if I add cocoa butter to it, it becomes too fluid. So by adding like 25% of the W2, I can sweeten it a tiny bit, but I can also change its fluidity. So it's up to you what you want to do. There's no bonbon, please, right? Chocolate Creams has joined us. What did Maggie say? Maroon Machine's glorious. Maroon Machine is really underrated. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. Andy Schaefer there. Andy Schaefer, huge producer. He lives in a place called Iserlohn in Germany. That was my first posting as a chef, Iserlohn. I was there 4 years, and I truly, truly miss Iserlohn. It was really, really nice. What egg mould is this? This is Chocolate World 2007. Quite nice, got a few of those. So, James, you taught me right at the beginning of my chocolate journey that the phrase about perfection and progression has become our mantra in the kitchen. It's made me a better chocolatier. Don't seek perfection. You know, Andy Schaefer is here. I don't know if he's still here, but I need to have a chat. It'd be nice to get Andy on, actually, because he does absolutely massive volumes, but he's a big one for saying, like, just seek progression. Don't seek perfection. It's a pointless attitude looking for perfection. You could maybe find it in one of your chocolates where you make 1,000, right? Seek progression, seek to learn something new every time you make chocolate, and you will progress. And I think that's for every professional that's ever got to the top of their game will all tell you, I'm still learning, right? And my attitude has always been, every time I make something, I'm practicing. And because of that attitude, I'm always learning. Every single time I make something, there are lessons on how I would spray. Like if I did that Maroon Machine now, I'd probably do a barrier of a cloth and then spray in it. Or I would probably not choose, that's the straight-sided mould. I would probably choose a dome, which I don't have here. Is that one there? That's the dome there. That would fade so much better than the straight-sided one. That was a lesson that I looked at, and I'll remember that. And next time I do that one, I will take that approach. So Hashim's joined us there. Art and Chocolate. Hello, Linda. I know you said in the past to fill with less caramel so you can put a thicker cap on. Even with that, at times I have caramel still coming out as I cap. Should I spray cocoa butter on top of that? Tosca chocolates, no. It just needs to skin over. It just needs to firm up a little bit. If your shells are retracted and you put the caramel in, if you're a little home producer, nothing wrong with pipe those in and underfill them and just let them settle. Leave them at kind of room temperature, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I would put them in the fridge to give them just put them in the fridge for about 10-15 minutes, just to give them a cold blast of air, just to form a skin over the top. The reason it all comes up again is the amount of chocolate that you put, when you're capping, the amount of chocolate that you put on top. If the filling's soft, what will do is the chocolate will force down the filling to come back up. The other thing is this, when you put that capping chocolate in, doing this, if you got caramel and you put capping chocolate on top and you keep doing this, okay, you're going to make the chocolate, which is heavier, sink and make the filling come up. So that when you cap, you're not going to get a lovely join, and you'll find these little blisters come up. The little blisters come up always. The little blisters of caramel come up. They always come up. You might get one or two in the centre or some at the edge. It's always a result of the caramel just not being firm enough, or having like skinned over, dried, if that makes sense, before you cap. The other thing with capping is you don't want to put mountains on there. Because if you put too much capping chocolate on and it's too heavy, you're going to push the filling to the sides. You'll push the filling to the sides, and if they're underfilled, it's probably going to be okay. You'll scrape, and then when it cools down, you will end up with caps that are concave, because what you've done is put too much chocolate on top. So you want to, if you've got really fluid fillings, or they're very, very soft, a piping bag might be your best friend, so that you don't put too much on. What I would say is try and avoid doing that too much, all right? Do it on the table. Put your capping chocolate on the table flat. A couple of taps is all you need. Get it off as quickly as possible. And try and scrape a bit more upright. If it's really, really down low, all you can do is push pressure in the mould. Right. So, to answer that, Tusker chocolate. Received my maroon machine today. Happy days. You like maroon machine? I like maroon machine. I don't know if anybody knows what maroon machine is, but for the people that have ever joined the army, we have the very wonderful parachute regiment. When you pass P company selection, you get the maroon beret, which is affectionately known as the maroon machine. So that's my nod to my military life. So next question. Messed up 3 moulds as I forgot to back spray. Can I melt and reuse the shells? They have apple crunch and fool's gold. Yeah, you can. I get asked this question a lot. You might, the amount of cocoa butter that you've got in the mould, the amount of cocoa butter I've got in that mould probably doesn't equal 3 grams. It's probably about 2.8 grams, right? If I to fill that mould, I need 440. So I've got 2.3 grams in 440. If I tip that chocolate out, and I have to get rid of the shells, I'll probably melt that into another kilo. So I've got 2 grams in a kilo. I doubt if you'd even be able to see the colour, unless it's a white chocolate, of course. You wouldn't be able to see that colour. Nothing wrong with, if you've got a few shells and you've had a little bit of an accident and you want to start again, which is the good thing to do, there's nothing wrong with starting again. Nobody's looking over your shoulder. There's no bonbon police. Nobody's going to knock on the door and go, why did you do that? If you want to put some of those shells back in, it's fine to melt through. It's very likely that you wouldn't be able to see it, all right? If you're using things and it's got titanium in and what have you, most of it will be absorbed, and I don't think you'll find it be visible. I think the other thing is that there's no such thing as waste in chocolate. Like every scrape, there's no such thing as waste. There just isn't. If you've got shells that you can't use and you don't like them, melt them down. They can go into a ganache, they can go into a douille, they can go into an additional batch for more shelling. It's not a problem at all. You don't ever throw chocolate out, unless you burn it, of course. In which case, that is truly a mistake, and you should stand in the corner and call yourself names. You're doing well, bro. Thank you. All right, Mario. Yeah, that makes sense, I think, to you. James, can I mix another colour in the Hello Yellow to make it a little bit darker? Yeah, tiny, well, as in a darker green. I don't understand what you mean. You can add orange to it. So you can add orange, what will give you kind of more passion fruit colour. I mean, if you add blue to it, it will become more green, which you don't want. If you want to, I don't understand what Lonely, I don't understand what you want to do. To make it, when you say a little bit darker, what kind of colour are you looking for? Let me think. It's a tough one with the colours. A little bit darker, you can add green, forest green, tiny drop of forest green, but you're not going to use a lot. Hello Yellow's a type A, and type A are very, there's not much gap between the molecules, right? Whereas with titanium and black and the oxides, there's big gaps between them all, right? But with the type A's, the gap in between it's small, so it means that they get they can kind of be compromised very quickly with a tiny amount of something else. So is egg yolk a darker? No, egg yolk's a different thing. Or egg yolk is real bright yellow. Egg yolk's lovely. If I show you, that'll look orange on camera. I haven't got my glasses on, so where's Hello Yellow? That is yeah, I guess that's a darker yellow, right? No, Maggie, I wouldn't add black because that will make it look grey. Black is a different product. If you add a type B, it's about how big these molecules are and the gap that's in between it, which is why black and white they're kind of always root. A tiniest dot of black into a white will turn it grey. Equally, because there's space to fill those gaps, right? That's where if you've got black, it's how much space there is between those molecules. It's the same with gold and silver. They're quite big molecules, ingredients floating around in the butter, right? And if there's space in the gap between the cocoa butter and that ingredient, that's what will be filled. So type A are very tight, so you won't need much colour, but the tiny bit of colour will make a massive difference. If that makes sense. Gunmetal. What about gunmetal? Gunmetal. I don't know if you add gunmetal to the yellow. I don't know what that would produce. I'd have to put my glasses on to check that. I don't know. I'll tell you what is coming out shortly. Leaf green. There's a leaf green coming out, and then there is another blue coming out, which is like a dark navy blue. So you'll have to wait until I got it done. Is there a class this weekend? Dean is saying yes, there is a class this weekend. It's called the Cocoa Butter class. We are talking all about this stuff and how it works, and how if you temper the cocoa butter, we'll go through mold preparation, we'll go through cocoa butter tempering, different ways of doing it, temperatures to hold it, why you can't hold it for too long, what do beta crystals do in the cocoa butter, as in like what are they, and then some of this information will translate to how you work with chocolate as well, because when we're tempering chocolate, the only thing we're trying to control is the beta crystals in there, so that it's relevant information. And then we're going to look at what is crystallization. So we're going to show you a couple of experiments where we will cool one slightly but not the other. If I turn my dehydrator on and I melted all these butters, if I melted all those to 40 degrees and I turn it off, tomorrow morning they will still be liquid, because I've melted all the beta crystals. The cocoa butter's the same, nothing's changed. So we're talking about that in the class. It's about an hour and a half. Normally goes on a little bit longer, if I'm honest. We're doing questions and answers, troubleshooting. Why does this happen? Why does that happen? Why does some get left in the mould and some doesn't? And also some questions and answers, and what temperatures you need for. We will touch on airbrushing very slightly in terms of what would you do to the butter temperature-wise differently so that you can airbrush, and what's the difference between spraying a type A and a type B when it comes to airbrushing. For a lot of the people that have done the airbrush class here, you will know what I'm talking about. Once you know what the ingredient is and you understand how it performs, you can make better decisions about what colours you will grab and how you will do your designs, and whether it needs backing, whether it's opaque or see-through like type A's, or whether it's a type B that you don't need to back it. So many people will, here's an example. That's fuchsia red, which is a type C, and then the breakfast at. I don't need to back that with white. We will just shell, because the dark won't, it's a type, breakfast at is a type B, so the colour won't come through it. Do you know how many chocolatiers will spray that and then back spray that with white? Well, you've just wasted the white cocoa butter. You didn't need to. It'd be really easy for me to teach you how to waste this stuff. Cocoa butter's not cheap. I know because I make it and I use it. What I want to show lots of people is how to get the best from it and how to make it go further and use it in the right way so that you're not being wasteful, because I think that's a hugely important thing. Hugely important. So, yeah, you can add orange to that yellow. It will darken it down a little bit. So, so yeah, Hudson chocolates. Yeah, so there's a navy coming out. There's a dark navy blue coming out, and also a leaf green. And the girl's going to help me do the leaf green because I can't see green. I can't see yellow, green, or pink, or some reds. Ha! Brilliant. There's always a way you can mix and blend these colours. You can and you should. There's no reason why you can't. There's no bonbon place. You can do whatever you want. If you are mixing colours and you're choosing different ones, just mix a little bit first to make sure you're on the right track before you commit a whole bottle of something into something and go, that's not what I wanted. So, what time have we got? God, it's nearly that time already. If you want to join the class, it's on the website. There's only a few spaces left for this Sunday. I'm not going to run another cocoa butter class probably till April. March is just chock-a-block for us at the minute. So, well, February's busy, but March is even busier. So, I don't know. We need some more daylight. We need longer daylight hours. That's what we do. Yeah.
I thought that might be a bit helpful to read.
Yeah, but I have to look down on that, look. And there's a delay, isn't there? That's a bit weird.
It's easier for you to
Look,
read
it's
the
always
comments.
easier. You were just interested in how my hair worked. Anyway, right, it's yeah, I can't read that and read the ones on the screen. So we'll find another way to do it. Thank you. If there's no more questions, Mrs. So Sassy.
Yeah.
Got anything you want to add to Chocolate Chat tonight?
They are doing amazing.
You are all doing
I hope
amazing.
everybody had a lovely Valentine themselves. They enjoyed it.
Some
Every
absolutely
day
amazing.
is a love day.
Every day's a love day. We did Valentine's, didn't we? We didn't do Valentine's.
Making money day.
Valentine's is money making time. You're all doing absolutely amazing. We look at what everybody posts and tags us in, and we're in awe, and the messages we get, and it's very, 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 very humbling for me to read this stuff. Right, I just made some butter, and I hope that people like it, and I've seen the difference it's made to people. But some of the messages we get, some of the comments we get, some of the tags that we get, where people have made stuff, and you can see the pride in what they've done. I'm glad that we've helped a tiny bit. I think Chocky Chat is a wonderful thing, and it's the thing that I'm most proud of.
And for businesses that they
Yeah,
feel
for
sometimes that they
businesses, yeah.
are stuck, don't hesitate to ask help.
Yeah, businesses,
Do
if
not
you're
hesitate.
stuck, I know that
It's
Philippe
hard time for everybody, for all of us.
Philippe
It's
said
hard
there he's got
prices.
shells that are cracking. I'm like, send me a picture. In it, I will try and get to it, and I will try and help and answer things. All right, so
It's hard time for everybody. Economy is not really great at the moment, and yes, we are a commodity as chocolate.
yeah, we're a business, but do you
So-
know what? We're trying to help. So if
Yeah.
you're stuck, you need to shout, and we will help as much as we can. All right. So I think, what am I trying to say? It's tough for everybody right now. I'm very proud of what everybody's making. If you are stuck and things are happening, if I can help and I can answer it, I just want you to keep running your businesses and doing the amazing things that you're doing. You've just got to stay positive, stay with it, and just keep working hard on your own craft and seek progression. That's it, right?
Don't wait until you're out of business.
Yeah. Don't wait until it's gone horrendously bad and then you go, well, James will answer it. No.
Guys just wait until it's too late to recover.
Yeah.
And you shut your doors and you ask for help
Afterwards, yeah.
afterward.
Yeah, give us a shout. There's a whole group of people here in Chocy Chat that can help. So
Exactly.
We're
We're
going to go. It's cup of tea time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's cup of tea time. I'm going to go. Thank you, everybody. See you next week. Right. Have a good week, everybody. Take care.
Have a good week, everybody. Bye bye.